Hello, thank you for stopping by. My name is Becky and this is Bex Reads, and today I am starting my next Unstuff My Kindle vlog challenge. So I finally made a playlist of Unstuff Your Kindle vlogs. I will link them all down in the description. Unstuff Your Kindle is a reading slash vlog challenge that I created with the help of Monika, Crystal, and April. Sorry, April. They help me come up with prompt ideas for this, and occasionally all of us do vlogs. Sometimes not all of us do vlogs. It just depends on like if we're in the mood to make a vlog, if we have the books that match the theme and whatnot like that. So this is a vlog challenge I open up to everybody here on Booktube. If you are wanting to participate in a collaborative video idea, pretty much I give you the prompt for books on your Kindle and you read as many or as few as you want, make a vlog, and you upload it on the day that we assign for it. Some people do participate in this and they read like their physical books as opposed to unstuffing their Kindle. They unstuff their shelves, and if that's what you want to do, go for it. By all means, if you want to participate this in any single way you can, do it however fits your reading style. But this month's theme was cold covers, which was Crystal's theme. And the whole point is to read books with cold, frost, ice, snow, anything cold feeling on the cover or in the title. So I will be reading hopefully 3 books in this vlog. I'm aiming for 3, but if vlogs past are any indication, it might be 1. So I am going to start reading The Dragon and the Queen of Ice, which is a book that I picked up for free. I absolutely know nothing about it other than I saw dragon and queen, and I thought maybe a dragon was going to fall in love with the queen of a country or something like that. I have no idea what this book is about. I will let you know maybe when I get halfway through this. I don't know. I'm so bad at checking in. So you'll get an update at some point. I'm trying to channel like a cold feel, so I got this like blue wig on with my beanie on. So here's an update. I finished reading The Dragon and the Queen of Ice. This is about a woman, I think she's like 18 at this point, which she honestly felt older than 18, which was refreshing. So I don't know why they made her be 18 when they could have easily said she was 23, 25. Because she felt much older than that. But in the beginning of this book, we are just pretty much thrust into this world, and we meet this queen who had an ice shard embedded in her eye when some dragons were fighting, and it caused her to go blind, and this ice shard is slowly like freezing her from the inside out. So the cure for this is she has to fall in love. Why that's the cure? Because it's a romance. Like, honestly, she had an ice shard embedded in her eye, and the way to cure her so she doesn't freeze to death is love. So stupid. So she doesn't really have a lot of hope that she will fall in love before her heart freezes and she dies. So the next best option for her is to produce an heir to take over her kingdom. So she has tried to do this, and she found out that her previous fiance was trying to overthrow her kingdom, and he was just going to marry her and wait until she died, and then he was going to take over her throne. So she killed him for treason. So her next best option comes from this ice dragon, who was one of the reasons how she ended up with this ice shard in her eye. I don't know. They were fighting, and somehow she was the lucky recipient of this ice shard that's now freezing her alive. But he feels guilty about this. So he's like, hey, I have a fire dragon cousin who I can arrange a marriage with you. Y'all can produce an heir. And when you die, your heir can take over. So she's like, great, this is my last option, let's do it. So she meets her new dragon husband on their wedding day, and because she is blind, she cannot see him, but she feels an immediate attraction to him through how he treats her and his voice and things like that. So they get to consummating their marriage quite frequently. They are attracted to one another, and slowly they begin to fall in love, but she doesn't want to fall in love with him because she doesn't want to leave him grief-stricken when she dies and caring for their child by himself, and he doesn't want to fall in love with her because he doesn't want to like lose his mate and die, because that's how dragons work. If their mate dies, then he dies, and he doesn't want to give himself over to that. So both of them are fighting this reason not to love each other, but you know, they end up falling in love. But there is a miscommunication within the like middle part of the book where something happens and he ends up doing something that she doesn't understand, and so she blames him for something and he leaves, and then she finds out that she's in love with him and her eyesight is restored, and then he comes back and they live happily ever after. So this book wasn't bad. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars because I did feel their chemistry. I thought they had really good chemistry together. I liked the fact that she was blind and she was falling in love with this man she couldn't see. And I liked how just besotted he was with her and how much he wanted to take care of her. I hated their miscommunication though. I thought that was stupid. If he would have just told her, like, as soon as she accused him of doing what he was doing, if he would have just been like, no, this is why I was doing it, could have alleviated that whole misstep. The book itself had some grammatical errors in it as well, and it was a pretty short story. It also just like plopped you into this world, because I don't know if this is like part of a series or something, and so maybe I read it out of order and this world is already established. I don't know, but there were just some things about it that I didn't love, but I did feel the chemistry and I liked the story overall if it would have just been expanded upon a little bit more. So not a bad book to start off with. And now I'm reading Wed to the Ice Giant by Layla Faye. I want to say I've read another book in this series. I think it was like Wed to the Lich, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the same series. And so far I'm about 20% into this, and this is about a like agency that matches up women who are going through tough times with monsters who need an arranged marriage, and they take their DNA samples and they match them up according to who will be their mate. And this woman is down on her luck. She's very poor. She has brothers and sisters that she has to take care of who are starving, and she, as the oldest, enters into this agency in the hopes that by matching with one of these monsters, her family will be taken care of. And she ends up getting paired with this ice giant. And immediately when they meet, they have to go through this wedding ceremony and they have to consummate their marriage right then and there, while his like two generals and his cousin watch and stuff. And she's like this tiny little human and he's like this giant ass giant. So they give her this oil to use so that way when he penetrates her, it doesn't hurt, because of course he's going to be 9 times her size and she's not going to be able to take him otherwise. So right off the bat, I can already tell you that this book is going to have to do a lot of work for me to give it more than a 3-star rating, because it's already a little too sexual when they just met each other. And yes, I understand that they were matched based on DNA, so they're supposed to have this attraction to one another, but they literally know nothing about each other other than he's huge and she's this tiny little human. I also don't love it when authors do this. They pair these monsters up with these human women. Like, what is wrong with their own species? It's almost like these authors degrade the female aliens within this species. Like, they're not good enough to mate with. They're all repulsive and repugnant, and they're always like lacking. There's always fewer women of the species than there are males, so the males always have to find these human women. And I feel like authors do this because they want the female readers who are human to like see themselves in these situations. But me, I want to see the female monsters and aliens get their romance. Surely there has to be a woman within your species who you could fall in love with, who would be much more sexually compatible with you and be able to take your size without all of these ifs, ands, and buts added to it to make it possible. Like, just give me a monster alien romance with 2 of the same fucking species. I am able to, you know, emotionally connect with a female monster or alien. Trust me, I can find similarities in that creature, and I want that creature to have a romance. I'm so sick of seeing these dainty little fucking women get these giant ass monsters who they have to rearrange their insides just to fit their dicks. It's so annoying. Plus, as I did last year, I am keeping track of the nicknames in books just for funsies, so I can do a ho or no at the end of next year as well. And the nickname that he gives her in the middle of a sex scene. He calls her Little Snowflake. For real? The fuck is that? So they better have some real great chemistry to build on this relationship, because right now it's sitting at like a very low 3-star for me, and I'm only 20% into it. We'll see if I even manage to finish this book or if I DNF it, because as of now, they've done nothing to build the chemistry. They've pretty much just looked at each other and they're like, oh my god, I'm attracted to this, blah, blah, blah. And the dick is so great. And that's it. That's the extent of what I've gotten. So pray for me. Finished reading Wed to the Ice Giant by Layla Faye, and I'm going to give this a very low 3-star. It was fine. My problems didn't really move past what I had before. I did like the arranged marriage. This was a very quick read. And one thing I will say about Layla Faye is she doesn't, pun intended, pussyfoot around the anatomy, the words used for anatomy. She isn't coming up with these stupid metaphors and analogies for body parts. She says it straightforward. So the smut scenes are very much to the point. They were pretty active smut scenes. There were, I would give this about 3 chili peppers worth of steam, because the scenes were quite, once again, pun intended, in depth. But I didn't feel a lot of chemistry between this couple, because they pretty much have sex on their wedding day, and then he leaves her alone for the majority of the book because he's trying to get like this bill passed or whatever. I mean, he's king. Couldn't he just say, I want this done, and do it? Apparently he's not that kind of king. Apparently he has to get votes. Okay. So he's spending all of his time doing this until she encounters a situation that puts her in danger. And then all of a sudden he's there and he's like, this is my wife, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I didn't feel any connection between you two, because you weren't actively getting to know each other and you weren't spending any time together. All you were doing was fucking one another. And that's just not enough for me to build chemistry. This book is also very short, so there wasn't enough time for that if they're not together for most of it. And when they are together, they're just boning one another. I'm laying here editing this vlog, and I can't believe that I forgot to mention the most ridiculous aspect of this book. Like, I get it, it's a monster romance, Becky. It's supposed to be ridiculous, but there are just some things. There are just some things that are just so ridiculous that my brain just can't function. Even in a monster romance, okay? If you read monster, paranormal romance, or whatever, you know what knotting is. Okay, you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, this is not the video to explain to you what knotting is. This guy does not have a knot. He's just got a huge dick. And when they're having sex, his dick is so huge that she can see it moving through her skin. Okay? That, not so ridiculous, okay? Whatever. The ridiculous thing is, when he comes inside of her, he comes so much that it distends her uterus to the point that she looks pregnant. Because he's so big that he pretty much, like, she's so tight around him that nothing leaks out. So this man is essentially corking her. To the point where her stomach looks like she's pregnant because she is so full. And I wanted to fucking gag. Talk about your bloating, okay? My God. My God. I can only imagine once he pulls it out, she gonna be like, you better put her in the bathtub, because the woman's gonna be spewing like a fire hydrant. She gonna be dripping so much. Okay, yeah, that's all I had to add to this, because it's something that still, it still drives me crazy. I swear 2 weeks after I read this book. And I didn't want to not include that in this video. So yeah. So this, I read it. I'm glad it was free. I'm glad I didn't spend money on this. But it wasn't the worst thing that I've ever read. So if you are into your super smutty monster romances and you don't mind the whole dynamic of a giant ass monster with the tiny little human and having to rearrange her insides to consummate their marriage, you'll like this. So I'm not sure what book I am going to pick up next for this cold cover reading vlog. I'll insert it here. I haven't started it, so I can't even tell you what it is. But this is what you can expect to get an update from me next time.
Look at that snow. Perfect for a cold cover reading vlog.
I have an update. Look at me coming in with an update before I finish a book. So I started reading Flowers for the Devil for Crystal and April's Mood Reader book club, and it coincidentally has snow on the cover. So I'm using it for this vlog. And this has been one that I have been interested in. I've had my eye on it, hoping that it would become free at some point. It never did, so I just went ahead and bought it. And I'm about 60% into it at this point. And this starts off very slow. We are introduced to this young woman, or I guess she's not a young woman. She's mid-20s, I guess, 25-ish. But she's a widow. And she is a lady of the Ton in London. She also comes from a Russian background. And she has started volunteering at like this doctor office for the poorer people of London. And one night she ends up getting assaulted, and this mysterious stranger who is very popular within the poor class of the Ton rescues her. And this man is Harlan Crow. That is what he is known as. He is seen as like the savior of the poor class. He's seen as a vigilante. The rich people see him as a criminal, and the poor people see him as a hero, because he does what he can to protect the poor people in London. So in the beginning of this book, we're just getting introduced to the characters. We're learning more about their backstory and how they came to be and all that. And it took me a while to get invested in this, because this is a historical romance, but I wasn't really feeling the romantic element of it until about like 15, maybe 20% into this book. And they start building this friendship, this camaraderie. They start seeing each other, but he only shows up at night, so she never gets a glimpse at his face. And she's falling in love with this man through letters that they are communicating through, and then he will show up in the garden where she works at this hospital type place, and their romance begins. But he is harboring a secret from her, and he doesn't feel like she could ever love him for who he truly is. So their interactions are always in secret. They're always in night. They're always behind masks and things like that. But she can't help but fall in love with the man that he is. He's a man who protects the less fortunate. He's very well spoken. He's very well written and things like that. And so you see this sort of forbidden romance develop between them. And eventually she is going to learn his secret. So this is giving me Bridgerton vibes, if Bridgerton was just a smidge darker. And maybe it's because like I don't read a lot of Regency romances set like in London. Most of the historical romances that I tend to read are like Highlander romances and such. So maybe it's just because I've been watching Bridgerton nonstop. But I see a lot of similarities within this story. that I saw in Bridgerton as well. And Crystal has told me, oh, those are pretty common tropes within like Regency historical romances. And they could be. I haven't read like a Regency historical romance in so long that maybe they are common. But I'm seeing like a masquerade ball, a carriage scene, a person who's keeping a secret from another person. And so I'm getting those vibes. But I will say, this book is written hella better than the Bridgerton books, okay? Well, I love the Bridgerton show. This is giving me vibes of what I've seen in the Bridgerton show, but oh my god, I would 100% recommend this book over any Bridgerton book every day of the week. And I'm not even done with it yet. I'm only 60% in. Because I feel their chemistry. I like the historical elements because there are aspects that were taken from real history and real events. And I like the characters both together and separately. So I will update you once I am finished with it. I'm getting set up for reading sprints tonight with the Coven on my channel. This is my oh-so professional setup. I am literally on my bed. I have to put my computer on top of this basket on top of books so that it's high enough because my bed tends to sink down. And I got this new lamp, which is so much brighter than the other one I had. I'm like amazed at how bright this room is with just this one lamp on. So, yeah, I'm about to start a reading sprint soon with my girlies.
Should we do reading sprints?
I don't think we know this about you. I'm like,
I
can't even point to her either. Why am I struggling?
I see people doing that all the time, and it's so annoying.
My computer buffered, and then I heard it was like white and not creamy, and then it went to my nose, and I was like, I was gone for 2 seconds. I want consistency.
Yeah, I'm just more talkative, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Laura, you're giving Legally Blonde over there with your little.
What, like that? Like it's hard? And the dude was like licking a knife.
I have
Florida.
it. I have it. If you're claustrophobic, don't go.
Damn, Jackie. Really? Unalive? Oh, there it is.
I'm the other.
That's why people don't tune into us more often. What a fucking hoot.
I have finished reading Flowers for the Devil, and I really enjoyed this book. I liked the chemistry of the characters. I liked the story. I did think that it dragged on a little longer than it needed to. Like, there was a point in the story where, like, things were hunky-dory or whatnot, and I'm like, okay, surely I gotta be to the end. And there was, like, 100 pages left, and I was like, okay. It also took that, like, 15% into the beginning for, like, the romance to really kick in. But once I got to the point where the romance started to kick in, I was invested in these characters. So I'm going to end up giving this a 4.5 star. Highly enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. It just had those, like, minor pacing issues at the beginning and the end that I feel like could have been alleviated a little bit. But overall, this was a really good read. It is I think it's classified as a dark Victorian romance, which dark, I don't know if I would say it's dark. I guess it has some darker themes to it, but for me, it wasn't really all that dark. It was just thrilling, I guess would be the word. It had a lot of elements in it that rang true to society today and like class differences and is vigilantism, is that the word? Vigilantism? Is vigilantism a good thing or a bad thing? Can somebody determine, who should die, who should not die, all those types of things. I guess compared to like other Regency Victorian type stories, this one would skew darker, but I don't think compared to like a dark romance that this is dark by any means. It's just got more thrilling aspects to it. I think the day this goes up that April and Crystal should have had their live show discussion for it. Maybe I'll be in the comments of that sharing my thoughts on it, but I will link their live show
discussion of it for their book club down in the description if you want to check out like what their thoughts were on it as well. Because I think all 4 of us actually read this. I think Monica, me, Crystal, and April all read it, so it'll be interesting to see where everybody's thoughts lie on it. But that is going to be it for me for this cold cover reading vlog. Have you read any of these? Will you be adding any of these to your TBR? Let me know. But if you don't want to comment that but would like to let me know that you made it to the end of this video, could you leave me an ice cube emoji, please? And with that, until my next video, go out there and read a book with some snow on the cover. Bye.